little bit more bonus coverage for you. There's some more irrigation education programs going on at the putting green right behind me, this time presented by Hunter Irrigation. So why don't we go take a look and see what they've got going on for us here at the Golf Industry Show in 2018.
All right, everyone, we are back inside the ropes, where we've had some terrific demonstrations so far this morning. We've learned about loose dogs, we've learned about some irrigation, and we're going to have another fantastic demonstration about irrigation with Hunter Irrigation, and Dennis Wagner is here. Take it away, Dennis. There he is.
Appreciate that. Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? We're going to talk a little bit about maximizing your largest or your biggest asset on your golf course. It is a Bugatti Chiron. Everybody has one of these, right? $2.4 million vehicle. Must not be a sprinkler salesman, I tell you what. But this is a big asset, right? It costs $2.4 million. It takes a lot to keep this thing running, keep it on the road, keep the tires going, just to maintain it. You wouldn't buy something that costs this much money, run it till the tires run off, and then turn it in, would you? No. You invest a lot of money in an asset like this, and you got to spend time and money to keep it maintained. So let's take a look. A multi-million-dollar car. It's going to take a good manufacturer, distributor, parts, tools, everything you need to keep this thing on the road and keep it maintained. Every 5,000 miles, you have to do an oil change, right? Now, I tell you what, you're not going to Jiffy Lube for $39.95 with your Bugatti, I can promise you that. So it's going to take a lot of money to keep it going. Let's take a look at what Dr. James Beard says about an irrigation system. It sounds like a Bugatti. It's complex. It's costly. It needs to be properly designed, maintained, engineered, the same thing that a Bugatti takes, right? An irrigation system costs, in some golf courses, $2.4 million. So we're looking at the same thing, and a lot of people need to keep the 5,000-mile oil change up to date on their golf course, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. So we're going to talk today about auditing. I kind of relate auditing to a 5,000-mile oil change, all right? Every 5 years, I think that you should re-audit, say, 3 or 4 holes. So if you take 18 holes, plus the chipping and the putting green, you divide that up into 5 years, so every 4 years, you do those sets of greens, and if you want to, the fairways as well. So I call it the 5,000-mile warranty or oil change. So we're going to talk today. I've got Kevin Johnson, who's my Eastern Regional Manager with me, Jeff Vine, the Western, and one of our engineers, Ron Nuskowitz. And again, I'm Dennis Wagner here out of the Central U.S. We're going to set up, we've already preset some of these cups up and the holders, and they're going to finish triangulating and placing these cups up so we can get them all set up and run an audit. Justin told me that this green needed some water. So we're going to pipe some water in, and hopefully the convention services people don't mind if we throw some water up there, but we'll get a little irrigation going, virtually. So while they're doing this, we'll continue to talk about auditing and why. If you own a golf course, or you maintain a golf course, the easiest way to cut your budget numbers or reduce your budget numbers is to have a more efficient irrigation system. Did I get that button again? There we go. So if you can save water cost, power cost, operational cost, that's going to bring your budget down in line. What you're going to gain from that is a baseline performance. And I don't care if you have a 20-year-old system or you have a 1-year-old system. You need a baseline of what you got. And most of you who are golf course superintendents inherited a lot of old irrigation systems. You don't know what's under the hood. Or under the sand, I should say. You need to check that, just like you check on your Bugatti or your vehicle at home. You need to always be looking and checking and making sure you've got a baseline performance. You need to know what your inventory is. It's a $2 million. Here in Texas, it's more like a 1.2, but it's still $1 million. That's a lot of money. You need to set up, by doing that, you can set up your lifespan. You can see how long it's going to last, so you can program to look at capital cost, maybe 10, 20, 25 years down the road. What will that do for you? Well, your general manager or owner is going to give you a pat on the back for saving you money, number one, and it'll also increase playability. So how do you audit a golf course? My fellow cohorts over here, they've laid out all the cups. We do this on a regular basis. We do about 50 audits a year between the three of us. And what we do is we come in and we take your existing heads, put the cups out, we run them, we take all the data, put them into a summary, we dig those heads up, put our hunter heads in, the G885, the best sprinkler in the business, and then rerun them with the same cups that are there. Then once we get all that data, then we summarize the two. As a matter of fact, we're getting ready to see an actual audit. We're replicating an audit that Jeff did in California about 3 or 4 months ago. And you'll see the differences in how much a little bit of time saved on running the sprinkler makes at the overall bottom line. Also, by doing this, you identify problem areas. And that's why I say let's do this over a 5-year period. A lot of agronomists, they like this idea. So what you do is you take all, let's say all 20 greens, you identify from the best to the worst. So the first year you do 4 greens that are the worst. Next year you do 4 more, 4 more, 4 more, until you get to 5 years. On the 6th year you start all over. Again, it's like a 5,000-mile oil change. Continually take a look, see what's underneath the hood, and make sure everything is working efficiently. You determine the precip rates, perk rates, and then you can make an efficient irrigation schedule. This is an actual golf course that we did in Arizona. The superintendent took these pictures. We didn't. This was his court. The left side, of course, is the before picture, and he was definitely having some problems, as you can tell. Jeff went out and they put G85s on the right side. They did the whole hole, but the whole hole now looks like it on the right. And it's an amazing. We didn't change piping, we didn't change wire, we didn't change the controllers. We just changed the heads, and we went from left to right. All right, let's talk about this audit. They've already got a cup set up. All you need, you don't need those experienced technicians. All you need is a $500 audit kit. Same thing we're using out here. Every year you have that audit kit, and it doesn't take a whole lot to maintain. Maybe if you're doing 4 holes or 4 greens, you can probably do that in 3 or 4 days out of a year, and get your baseline rolling. Here's one that we did in California where the cups are up, the heads are flying. Unfortunately, let me get this thing rolling here. Help back there. So the video should be playing. Nope, there it goes. Oop. Go backwards. Should never given this monkey this control. He doesn't know what he's doing. All right. So since we can't fly water out here today, we have a video of an actual. Let's see if we can get it to start. Play button on that. There we go. So now water's flying. Cups are out. You turn on every head. Unfortunately here this wasn't single head control. There were 2 heads running at a time. So we fill up the cups, or partially fill them up. We run all the heads the same amount of time. Once we get all that data, then we start plotting it. And you'll see here, these are the actual milliliters of the cups that we ran on this job that Jeff did. Now this was the hunter heads here. We don't have the other ones, but it's in a format. And by the way, one critical thing that we forgot to do, Jeff forgot to do, is when you're doing an audit, be sure you take the flag out, all right? Because if you don't, the sprinkler's going to hit that. That's not going to give you a true reading on the green. So be sure you take that out. The other thing I'll also say is that when you put these cups out, you need to have them in multiples of 4, okay? Because we're looking for the low we have 32 cups. The actual one that we're going to show you is 40 cups. It's being plotted on the screen right now. And that way we can take the average of the low quadrant, here would be 10 cups, divided by the average of all the cups. And that's how you get your distribution uniformity. So you're looking for the weakest point on the golf course or on the green. So once we have all this plotted, they've taken all the readings. We put that into a summary. Now, one thing I also will say is that I have 3 gentlemen here helping out, but you only want to have one person doing the reading. Because just like somebody says, Mexican food last night was good, another guy goes, I don't think it was worth a darn. Same thing true when you're looking at a cup and reading it, because you've got lines. So you want to make sure that the person who's reading reads the same one. Because on the line, is that over, under, or whatever. So that's very critical too when you're doing an audit. This here's the G85 that we ran the test on. It took us 6 years and a whole lot of money to build it, but it's the strongest, the beefiest, the best sprinkler, the most efficient sprinkler in the market. And you'll see here in a minute when I'm talking about distribution uniformity. The IA states that a poor DU level is 50%. A good one is 70%. And an excellent one is 80%. Let's take a look and see what we got. Here was the first set of numbers that Jeff did on the existing heads, that they were having some issues on the green. And you'll see that the low water distribution was 69%. All right, what did I say? 70% was good? So it's okay. You know, you think you've got a good system out there. You think you're watering properly. And so I'm not too bad. Precip rate's a little high, 0.72.
Thank you for tuning in to our bonus coverage at the 2018 Golf Industry Show. Our next live segment is at 12:30, featuring Ryan and Steiner, and we'll see you then. Thanks.